se lo voy a mencionar. Just want to go through Obadiah right quick. And a reiteration of basic 2022 Hebrew Israelite doctrine, man. It ain't about your outward appearance. It's about your spirit, the scriptures, and your quote-unquote character. We'll test that, right? So may the Most High keep me in the spirit whilst we go through this. Here, Obadiah 1. Right here, we are betwixt Yonkers and the beginning of the Bronx. So the play house. It's lucky. Taking my lunch, trying to reframe. Let's go. The vision of Obadiah, thus saith Yahweh, concerning Edom. We have heard a rumor from Most High, and an ambassador is sent among the heathen. Arise ye. Let us rise up against her in battle. Visión de Abdías. Yahweh el Señor ha dicho en cuanto a Edom. Hemos oído el pregón de Yahweh. Keep the brown shirt out of plain sight. Because you know, history is perpetually repeating it. So that's a hijack. Shout out to the leader of that Texas camp, whom I haven't heard from in over a week. And pardon if I am myself. I've been lacking in testosterone, so forth and so on, to feed through the spirit. Hemos oído el pregón de Yahweh y mensajero ha sido enviado a las naciones. Levantaos y levantémonos contra este pueblo en batalla. He aquí, pequeño te he hecho entre las naciones, estás abatido en gran manera. Behold, I have made thee small amongst the heathen, thou art greatly despised. And the other nations, and Yasharala, and Israel, las otras naciones de Israel, Yasharala. Cada israelita de Israel o de Yasharala es un príncipe del poder. Ahora, si escogemos ser parte de ese 66.6%, por 2/3, 2/3, esos no serán los líderes de las 12 tribus, 12,000 requeridos, de 12,000 almas requeridas de cada tribu. Proud of thine heart. Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen, thou art greatly despised. Aquí pequeño te he hecho entre las naciones, estás abatido en gran manera, la soberbia de tu corazón te ha engañado, tú, que moras en las hendiduras de las peñas, en tu altísima morada. ¿Qué dices tú? En tu altísima morada, ¿qué dices en tu corazón? And through spirit in the dispensation of in the disbursement and the dispensation of the Israelites, and thus the ancient Hebrew. You still hear some of it in the Spanish and the English. and their juxtaposition thereof. Proud of thine heart had deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? That's why the first martial arts schools we ever had was in 99 on Mcklein Avenue, where the whole boxing connection used to be in. It's called ground control. La soberbia de tu corazón te ha engañado. Tú que moras en riberas de las peñas, en tu altísima morada que es en tu corazón, que me derribará tierra. Si te remontares como águila, y aunque entre las estrellas pusieres tu nido, he aquí, te derribaré, dice Yahweh. Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and thou set thy nest among the stars, thence I will bring thee down, saith Yahweh. And lastly, remember to keep the numerology. La numerología es clave. If thieves came to thee, if robbers by night, how art thou cut off? Would they not have stolen till they had enough? If the grape gatherers came to thee, would they not leave some grapes? How are these things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things stored up? You know, hyperbole or false flag, or false flag. Just go through the Google, go through the modern times and current events, scriptures and prophecies, undeniable. How are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things stored up? ¿Cómo fueron escudriñadas las cosas de Saúl? Sus tesoros escondidos fueron buscados. All the men of like Confederacy, right? That's why the Civil War was a big old photo op, and the Declaration of Independence before it. You know, they were quick to hijack that 10-year inception called the Articles of Confederation, so forth and so on. All the men of that Confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is no understanding in him, right? What do we see now, man? The absolute... It's not a monopoly yet, but it's a soon-to-be outright monopoly. How they're corralling all these conglomerates, and ultimately it's the Most High's left hand. Todos tus aliados te han engañado, hasta los confines te hicieron llegar. Los que estaban en paz contigo prevalecieron contra ti. Los que comían tu pan pusieron lazo debajo de ti. No hay en ello entendimiento. That's how you know. Once more, speaking of the hijack of this very country's inception, and pretty much the entire land's inception, from Alaska to Argentina, and even counting Australia. This is the juxtaposition of the languages through the scriptures. If you're in the spirit, will let you know the history and how BS it was. French against English, Spaniard against French, treaties, wars, bullshit. Because all the Most High's left hand, fighting each other ultimately to keep order for this process. Just like the chip or whatever's next is coming, right? Ain't got to. As I got shows, I threw it on last night. That's lucky. Home break, of course. I was gonna get my cut, just trying to get a freshly right here. But nonetheless, my nonetheless. Yeah, couldn't get a cut. Let's finish this off here right in front of where it says fair. The spirit, man. This is how the Wi-Fi looks now, but ancient antennae are all over the preset buildings. It's going to be so interesting how we're going to reutilize our temples through the spirit in order to really get the full spiritual cadence that we're supposed to be raised in, without having a calcified pineal gland disallowing us from the spiritual process. Not bad. Trying to get some actual currency from this here bridge. Water over the bridge. What I have. Make sure it's still recording. Alright, good to go. And for the spirit, man, like many of Jake, I grew up here in Yonkers from the age of 9 years old, and always searching for father figures. There were the rappers, fighters, Noam Chomsky, the leaders of a few of the leaders of the Great Millstone, and even some left-hand articulate researchers, and without being redundant, truly the arm of the producers' academia. They're laboring, man. Men like they have been. I'm speaking on left-hand processes. Nonetheless, they're all going to be part of the Most High's gradualism. That's a high job. Say I'm speaking of men like Michael Tsarian, Mark Passio. Mark Passio, I think I have him in some of the videos, if not this production page. Keep the other links. So with that background, it might be easier for you to navigate through scriptures. Eight, and once more, peep the geometry of the number 8. Yo, gotta love it. Shall I not in that day, say the Yahweh, even destroy the wise man out of Edom, and understanding out of the mount of Esau? So out. still healing some bad ribs. You can hear the alignment. Not in that day, say Yahweh, even destroy the wise men out of Edom and understanding out of the Mount of Israel. No haré en aquel día, no haré que perezcan, no haré que perezcan en aquel día, dice Yahweh, los sabios de the sun panel technology is going to seem hella rudimentary when we reestablish our heavenly connection through the Spirit in this temple or the next. No haré que en aquel día, dice Yahweh, los sabios de Edom y la prudencia Salakia. Repetition upon repetition, like the geometry of the number 8, which in most modern day globes exemplifies the path's cyclical, the sun's cyclical path within a 12-month cycle from northern hemisphere to southern hemisphere. Hence the seasons. But it is an orbit. It does like look for that 8 looking pattern in the geometry of any globe, and you'll find it. And that's the reason why, when it's warmer up here, Canada, United States, so forth and so on, it gets colder in Argentina and Brazil, etc., and vice versa. No haré que perezcan en aquel día, dice Yahweh, los sabios de Edom y la prudencia del monte de Saúl. And thy mighty men of Temet, see how the English and the Spanish are quasi-interchangeable in the spirit of the scriptures. And thy mighty men of Temet shall be dismayed to the end that every one of the mount of Esau shall be cut off by slaughter. Tus valientes, O Temán. Tus valientes, O Temán. Tus valientes, O Temán, serán amedrentados, porque todo hombre será cortado del monte de Saúl por el estrago. Prophecy already coming true every year that I've known this year, 100 kilometers. Por la injuria a tu hermano Jacob te cubrirá de vergüenza y serás cortado para siempre. For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall come over thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever. In the day that thou stoodest on the other side, in the day that the strangers carried away captive his forces, and foreigners entered into his gates, right, and cast lots upon Jerusalem, this heavenly Jerusalem, many's Jerusalem renames, but you gotta dodge the hijack. America is the true old world. I don't need to exemplify in my own page. Look at the work, the extensive work of gentlemen like Curimel Ahau down in Costa Rica, but he's a Bostonian. Jersey dude, John Levi out in the Midwest. And likewise, the Amarucan, Uriah Faber. No, not Uriah Faber. That's Westbrook. But even him, you know, he said what many of us fighters have known for a while. Yo, when I watch fights, I watch them on mute. Gotta dodge the hijack from the commentators, the anchors, so forth and so on. But listen to the script they're reading. There's high-level ladies and gentlemen that are in perpetual contrition. Yep. That's I would think. Pues no he visto, tú haber estado mirando en el día de tu hermano, en el día de su infortunio, en el día de su infortunio, no debiste haberte alegrado de los hijos de Judá en el día en que perdieron, ni debiste haberte jactado en el día de la angustia. ¿Cómo? Alright, man, I'm still healing my back from this damn gig. And really from over a decade now of into Lyme disease, which is essentially holding me together at this point. So that was the hell is. Speaking to the Chimeras. It's hella Chimeras, but they don't catch the spirit. They don't catch that fourth dimensional geometry that is perpetually being displayed in modern and quasi-modern architecture, sculpture, and advertising art. That's art nowadays. Down to the cloth, right? Because these are garments. But just dodging the one hijacker, for example, Shaolin Temple monk uniforms, and how, you know, in my own, you know, I have hella injuries, right? Hella injuries, man. But there's a way to heal. There's a way to heal. Reminds me of that song by Fastball. the way. Now, example, even though they were going off, some of them gentlemen in that band Fastball might be Israelites, and someone with a family name, for example, like Keenan, Ivory Wayans, might not. But you got to discern through the spirit, and that's a high zone. Hence, the Christian incentive to follow Paul's directive on follow the Gospel's directive on less genealogy, you know, and Paul, of course, because he could have bragged and he didn't. You know, same thing with John, Elijah, and the reincarnation. Could have bragged, but he didn't. He dipped to the wilderness. Yep. Put up. Thou shouldest not have entered into the gate of my people in the day of their calamity. Yeah. Thou shouldest not have looked on their affliction in the day of their calamity, nor have laid hands on their substance in the day of their calamity. Right? Because ultimately, he has the power to melt it all. Look at the American Southwest. They say, look at here too, but it's mostly covered with vegetation, save parts here and there, like the top of Victor Street, near downtown Yonkers, and on the other side of the Hudson Palisades, which I've made plenty of videos exemplifying, for lack of a better term, cellular to concave earth, and the multiple resets that there have been. Multiple resets. But this one, apparently, you know, the fools trying to break into the heavens. In Nimrod's time are back. And just like Esau killed Nimrod, pursuant to the book of Yashar, I haven't freshened up on those books recently, so I'm not even sure if it's Yashar or the Jubilees. I'm almost certain it's in Yashar. You know, it breaks down how Esau was pretty much the only one able to kill Nimrod after he was dispersed. You know, the Most High had to weaken him first, right? Destroy his tower, confuse the languages, and then he used Esau to kill him in the woods. Then that was also for our glory, our edifying, so we could have the inheritance. You know, one thing for the other. One hand washes the other. So because of all that soap opera in real life, he ended up coming hungry as hell to our grandfather after pursuing and hunting Nimrod, which was no easy task. The dude was a fucking giant. But we're both descendants of our great grandfather Isaac. But our grandfather, my grandfather, who had to grapple with a broken hip. No, not broken. Like I've had to deal with dislocation, right? And hey, last Yonkers reference, man, I've been knocking a lot of kill switch and gauge, man. This dude, he was yelling out dislocation. And he's from right here, man. Right up the street. Midland Avenue. Alright, shout out to Jesse, man. Everybody that was ever involved in Yonkers Underground, Bronx Underground, you know, small band movement. Ahora se están bandas, pero ya sabes. 1405. Tampoco debiste haberte apartado en las encrucijadas para matar a los que ellos escapasen, ni debiste haber entregado a los que quedaban en el día de angustia. Well, neither shouldest thou have stood in the day of Salaki. Bible 14:5-14. Neither shouldest thou have stood in the crossway to cut off those of his that did escape. Escapasen, right? Lord. Neither shouldest thou have delivered up those of his that did remain in the day of distress. The day of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai is near upon all of the heathen. As thou hast done, it shall be done unto thee. Thy reward shall return upon thine own head. And that is 6 or 15, 15 or 6. Porque cercano está el día de Yahweh. El nombre de Yahweh sobre todas las naciones. Como tú hiciste, será contigo. Y recompensa volverá sobre tu cabeza. Thy reward shall return upon thine own head. For as ye have drunk upon my holy mountain, so shall all the heathen drink continually. Yea, they shall drink, they shall swallow death. And that's the spirit. The spirit and power of the Lord. There Yahweh is near upon all the heathen. Thou hast done, and it shall be done unto thee. Thy reward shall return upon thine own head. This is the spirit. Que cercano está el día de Yahweh, Señor, sobre todas las naciones. Curve and light, thy curves, thy luz, es curva la tierra, es cóncava. Ya celular, como lo quieran llamar. Como tú hiciste será contigo, tu recompensa volverá sobre tu cabeza. De la manera que vosotros vedisteis en mi santo monte, literally building new lungs. Spirit of power, Yahweh, Right. Gotta hurry up. I'll probably be working until like 9:30 tonight. Because ye have drunk upon my holy mountain, so shall all the heathen drink continually, yea, they shall drink, they shall swallow down. And the heathen shall be as though they had not been. But upon Mount Zion, Jerusalem, Mount Zion shall be delivered, shall be deliverance. There shall be holiness in the house of Jacob. Shall possess their possession. If you could dodge a hijack and if you're in the spirit to receive it, keep Kurimeo last video. You comprehend why the New York Yankees are named so. We know the Mexican history of Moses that we come from. People of Yaqui or Jacob. Hence the New York Yankees. The house of Jacob shall possess their possessions. Mas en el monte de Sion habrá un remanente. Que se salve. Y será santo, y la casa de Jacob recuperará sus posesiones. 9 o 18. La casa de Jacob será fuego, y la casa de José será llama. Y la casa de Saúl estopa. Y los quemarán y los consumirán. Y ni aún resto quedará de la casa de Saúl, porque Yahweh lo ha dicho. And the house of Jacob shall be fire. 18 or 9. And the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble, and they shall kindle in them and devour them, and there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for Yahweh has spoken it. Y los de Negué poseerán el monte de Saúl, y los de Cefela a los filisteos poseerán también los campos de Efraín y los campos de Samaria y Benjamín a Galar. The gentleman on your $100 bill is an Israelite. Pick up Poor Richard's calendar. And they of the south shall possess the Mount of Esau, and they of the plain the Philistines, and they shall possess the fields of Ephraim, and the fields of Samaria, and Benjamin shall possess Gilead. El man Benjamin Franklin, que está en su billete de 100, era un israelita. Compren el almanaque del pobre Ricardo. Si no me creen. And the captivity of the host of the children of Yasharallah shall possess that of the Canaanites, even unto Zarephath. And that's the hijack, keeps some old world maps. And the captivity of Jerusalem, which is Sin Sepharditas, right? Shall possess the cities of the south. Y los cautivos de este ejército de los hijos de Yasharallah poseerán los de los cananeos hasta Serepta. Y los cautivos de Jerusalén que están en Sefarad poseerán las ciudades del Negev. Ay, olvídense de la baja secuestrada, por ese bajo secuestro. Y subirán salvadores al monte de Sion para juzgar al monte de Saúl. Y el reino será de Yahweh, and saviors shall come up on Mount Zion to judge the Mount of Esau, and the kingdom shall be Yahweh will conquer us.